On the edge of the Bering Sea, a 150-meter giant begins its journey toward one of Earth's harshest fisheries.
Beyond this point, every wave becomes a test of endurance and precision. Out here, the vessel is both factory and fortress for the men who chase fortune in freezing seas.
Their target is the giant king crab, a cold-water titan whose legs span over 3 meters. With tight seasons and strict quotas, one wrong decision in giant king crab country can cost an entire year's profit.
Deep below deck, thousands of horsepower keep the steel platform moving toward remote giant king crab grounds where storms erase any margin for error.
Every hinge, every weld, every cable must hold when the weight of the deep comes surging up through the gear. The crew studies wind and swell, searching for a narrow weather window to set their first giant king crab gear.
On this deck, a single mistake near moving steel can cost far more than a catch.
Before the hunt begins, tons of bait are carved by hand and carefully placed, every piece designed to draw in the giants of the seafloor.
The scent trail from this bait may be the only thing that convinces a cautious giant king crab to step into a steel cage.
Fuel, steel, and bait all burn money by the minute, and the crew feels the pressure long before the first pot hits the water.
On this deck, a single mistake near moving steel can cost far more than a catch.
Each buoy is a beacon in the chaos of waves, pointing the way back to whatever waits in the depths.
Before the first pot is launched, the crew inspects every moving part, knowing that once the work begins, there will be no time to fix what fails. As land disappears behind them, the crew commits fully to the giant king crab grounds, knowing they may not see a harbor again until the holds are full. With only a short season to work and quotas that close without warning, every hour on the grounds can mean the difference between survival and failure. As land disappears behind them, the crew commits fully to the giant king crab grounds, knowing they may not see a harbor again until the holds are full.
The hunt begins with maps and memory, reading the undersea terrain where giant king crab are most likely to march across the bottom.
The first pot in a long string is readied, a single test of whether their chosen ground still holds life. These are giant king crab, 12 to 16 kilograms of armor and muscle, creeping carefully toward the bait-laden steel cage. Pot after pot, buoy after buoy, they lay out a lattice of traps that may or may not intersect the slow march of giant king crab.
Weather closes in as the set continues, forcing the crew to move faster, even as the deck becomes slick and treacherous.
Each cage drops blindly through tens of meters of water, guided only by calculations and the experience etched into the crew's memories. Once the steel frame touches bottom, the bait begins its slow work, sending a ribbon of scent into the cold currents that sweep this underwater plain.
Now they wait, letting hours pass so that whatever giant king crab roam this ground have time to find the bait.
Between sets and hauls, the work turns quiet, a tense silence where doubt grows with every shifting forecast.
These are giant king crab, 12 to 16 kilograms of armor and muscle, creeping carefully toward the bait-laden steel cage.
These are giant king crab, 12 to 16 kilograms of armor and muscle, creeping carefully toward the bait-laden steel cage.
After long hours of waiting, the crew finally begins to haul, about to learn whether their first giant king crab string has paid off. As the first pot rises, tension crackles across the deck like static. The sea never gives anything for free. Every retrieve fights back with brutal force. Even a single empty pot can weigh hundreds of kilograms, and the sea turns it into a wrecking ball. The first pot offers nothing, an omen that sends a chill deeper than the wind.
Second pot rises with a different energy. Something heavy thrashes inside the steel frame.
A colossal giant king crab, its carapace nearly 6 centimeters across, claws desperately at its steel prison.
Each pot rising feels heavier, hinting at what might be waiting inside.
The crew works quickly, Speed matters when every second on deck risks a crushing claw.
Each pot rising feels heavier, hinting at what might be waiting inside.
A pot overflowing with giants is both a blessing and a hazard. Steel and flesh colliding under brutal forces.
Their strength is enough to bend thin steel and snap fingers in an instant.
The early signs point to a strong run, but storms threaten to choke the window of opportunity.
Storm-driven currents make every lift unpredictable and deadly. Even restrained, a single king's strike can break a wrist through insulated gloves.
Each crab must be handled with precision. Quality determines price when the auction begins.
The more giants inside, the more the gear screams under their weight.
A pot like this is a payday if it doesn't injure a man first.
The deck becomes a battlefield of steel, ice, and armored giants.
On the seafloor, entire clusters of giants gather, tempted by the drifting scent of bait.
A marching wall of armor sweeps across the plains of silt and rock. Instinct and hunger push them forward despite the danger. When giants crowd the pot, the promise of a massive haul grows. Deep below, raw weight builds, hundreds of kilograms waiting to be lifted. The deck transforms into a battleground where steel and seawater collide. The giants trapped inside unleash their fury on the steel frame.
Even the toughest crews feel the pressure when the giants keep coming.
The pace becomes relentless. Every second counts when the storm threatens the gear.
The deeper pots show brutal scars of the giant's struggle. When readings spike like this, the crew braces for another monster haul. The ocean lifts a cage full of living tanks onto the deck.
Even seasoned veterans tread carefully on a sea-swept battlefield like this. The storm turns the deck into a shifting trap of steel and seawater.
Every strike reminds the crew why king crabbing is among the deadliest jobs on Earth. In the storm's darkest hour, the crew holds their ground, because turning back now means losing everything.
With the storm raging, the crew presses on, refusing to surrender a single pot.
Even at the end of the string, the giants keep coming, bigger and heavier than before. Their size is staggering, each one a walking fortress of spiked armor. Even exhausted, the crew battles claw and storm with relentless determination. The crew holds their breath. Sometimes the last pot reveals the biggest treasures.
The giants explode onto the deck in one last show of raw power.
After days of chaos and danger, their tanks brim with the results of grit and teamwork.
A jackpot haul. But one wrong move could turn triumph into disaster. For a moment, the deck disappears beneath a tide of spiked legs and armored shells.
Tools are built thick for a reason. Giant king crab can warp metal with sheer force.
The ocean floor offers no mercy. Every pot lifted increases the risk of catastrophic gear failure. Even reinforced steel isn't safe from giants of this size. The deeper the hole, the larger the monsters waiting below. On a rolling deck, even a single misplaced step can put a man in reach of a crushing claw. The line of pots becomes a gauntlet, one punishing lift after another.
A giant's strike can reverberate through the deck like a hammer blow.
Numbers climb. This could become one of their biggest harvests of the season.
But the storm closing in threatens to steal away the gains they've fought so hard to secure. As the storm tightens its grip, each haul becomes a fight against the sea itself. When the load spikes like this, nobody knows whether a pot or a man will break first. The surge of a struggling giant king crab can tear control away in an instant.
These claws, nearly the length of a man's forearm, strike with bone-crushing precision.
Their armored bodies hit the metal plates like sledgehammers.
Sorting giants in a storm quickly becomes a dance with disaster.
The deeper strings are always the heaviest, where the largest giants wait. When the pot shakes like this, the crew braces for chaos. A surge of giants floods the deck, each one a living hazard.
In the lingering stormlight, a hard-earned victory brings rare moments of joy.
Their haul exceeds expectations, one of the strongest runs of giant king crab all season.
At last, the giants of the deep are secured, and the journey home begins.
Their catch must be kept flawless for the competitive markets ahead. The coastline draws near, a moment of relief after long days battling sea and giants. At dawn, the first buyers gather, competition fierce for premium giants.
Quality determines everything, and these giants rank among the season's best.
Within minutes, entire lots are sold, prices surging as demand outpaces supply.
The giants begin the next stage of their journey toward global markets.
Precision tracking ensures every kilogram reaches its destination in perfect condition.
Each container holds the story of danger, endurance, and the giants pulled from the deep. Global logistics take over, carrying the prized giant king crab across oceans.
From a storm-battered deck to international trade routes, this is the life cycle of a world-class harvest.
The giants now enter the realm of culinary mastery. Even in a kitchen, their size commands respect. Only top-grade giants make it onto high-end menus.
Traceability ensures diners receive the finest and safest seafood available. In expert hands, the giants transform into exquisite culinary treasures.
Rich flavored meat, premium seafood, meet premium seafood in perfect harmony. Each plate celebrates the journey from storm-swept waters to fine dining. Few flavors carry the weight of such danger and dedication.
the giants of the deep now bring warmth and comfort to the table.
From perilous seas to celebrated cuisine, this is the remarkable journey of the giant king crab.